Good evening, everybody. How's it going? Carl here, and welcome to the ANZCAR, the British ANZCAR Cup here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A slightly different one tonight, being here at Motor Speedway. Slightly different track, of course. We'll also just myself tonight up in the broadcast booth, so just myself up here on comms tonight. So you'll have to deal with me, I'm afraid. I'm also doing the track camera work as well, so going to be a bit of a bumbling night tonight, and I apologise in advance for that. But let's just quickly go over the grid. So up in first place we have Joshua Carroll-Walden with Josh Micklemore. Second row we have Danny G with Jason Martin. Third row Ayrton Smith with Matthew Cluett. Fourth row Edward Foster and Hamish Gallagher. Fifth row Michael Skurlock with Stephen Williams. Sixth row Bradley Allison with Mirko Dortnak. Seventh is Raymond Yeager with Rob Fletcher. 8th row is Norman Clark with Phil Otto. 9th we have Parry and Mick Wilson. 10th we have Neil Pearson and Hammy Stein. 11th row Nathan Clive, Matt Hunter. 12th row Adam Roswell and Tristan Koch. And that is all. So we'll switch that off and we'll get ready to start this race. It will be green this time round. So the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, a very famous track, of course, very famous racetrack, but mainly for its work in well, other series, not just NASCAR. But as we do go to green, I will be quieting up for a moment so you guys can hear the fantastic cars as they go thundering around this historic, important speedway.
Green.
And with lap 1 complete, the leaders are getting away. Josh Carroll-Walden and Josh Micklemore there. Micklemore going down the inside. Carroll-Walden getting pushed a little bit wide. This is going to give Danny G the opportunity to try and get down there. He's doing his best to try and get underneath that JP Simshed car and do his best. And we've got a car going off in the background there. Couldn't quite see who that was. But somebody just going off a little bit in the background there. You'll have to forgive me tonight as I don't have my usual setup either, which makes everything a little bit different. So I think that was Philip Howell just going off towards the back of the grid there as we come round for lap number 3 of this race. And a big crash there. Joshua Carroll-Walden and Danny G, I believe, getting it into each other, causing a massive crash towards the back of the field there. Huge incident, a lot of cars involved there. Absolute nightmare moment there for the drivers. Let's just go back and see if we can catch what happened there. So it looks like Hamish Gallagher just got into Danny G in the background there, and that's caused a huge wreck towards the back of the field. A lot of drivers involved in that incident, unfortunately. Quite a few cars that are damaged out there. One of the things we did actually have put out was the last year in the Thunder Trucks, the truck series for ANZCAR, where we had a very similar incident just coming into the start-finish straight. And a lot of cars got involved in that. One of the tricky things about this circuit, of course, is the cars are very much in a... well, it's in a bit of a strange position. It's a very narrow track, of course, Indianapolis, and that can really catch people out. And that has caught out a lot of drivers in that first lap incident. Huge shame there. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be very unhappy about that, of course. But these things do happen, sadly, in oval racing. It just takes one small mistake and it's all over. Let's go back and see if we can take another look at that one. So as we see here, Hamish Gallagher going down to the lower line, just getting onto the back of Danny G there. And he's just caught him in the corner, and that's pushed him up into Joshua Carroll-Walden. Foster will be lucky to have avoided getting damage there. But a lot of the cars a little bit lower down the field took an enormous shunt there. A huge shame for a lot of those drivers. Now, a few people are faking going into pit lane, but we do have Edward Foster going down there. One of the early leaders there, Foster. Maybe just to get that damage seen to on the car. Yeah, quite a bit of damage on the front of his car, as well as Neil Pearson there behind him. Sorry, not Neil Pearson, it will be Stephen Williams, sorry. Stephen Williams coming into the lane as well, just getting these early fixes done to the car, because the damage on the aero package will cause a lot of issue with these vehicles, especially on a speedway like Indianapolis. It's not what you want to have happen. It does not make things easier, unfortunately. A very, very exciting start there. But unfortunately, quite a few drivers getting caught in that incident, and that's going to really dampen their nights and make it very hard to score points from this point onwards. Just while we're under this caution, we will just quickly go through the top 10 in the championship. We still have Danny G and Michael Skurlock up in first, second. Edward Foster and Josh Mickelmore in third and fourth. Fifth and sixth is Jason Martin and Norman Clark. Seventh, eighth, Hamish Gallagher and Jason Hartigan. Ninth place is James Roby with Matthew Clovet in 10th. So we've got a few cars out there that this may have helped a little bit, just to get them up in the positions a little bit more. Michael Skurlock for sure. He's managed to get his way up to 5th place now. That's going to be quite useful for him, because a lot of those guys that well, are in the championship chase at the moment will have gone down, especially people like Danny G, who I believe is still in the pit lane, still getting services done. Quite a lot of damage to that car as well, unfortunately. Joshua Carroll-Walden, don't think we'll see him out again either, unfortunately. A real shame there for those guys. They're going to be very unhappy about that one, I am sure. So as we come round for lap number 6 of 80 here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, we've seen our first big shunt. It took a lot, well, it was a lot earlier on than we expected. Sometimes it takes a bit of time for those shunts to actually happen. But it's definitely happened early on in this race, and that's going to affect the outcome here. Will it be a boon for people like Mickelmore and Gallagher? We've seen Gallagher have a good season so far. We've seen him take that win. This is also going to help Jason Martin out there, just a little bit further behind. Ayrton Smith up into 3rd place. Brilliant drive for Ayrton Smith so far. Managed to avoid the collision at the start of the race, and that's only going to help him out here. The pace car lights have come out, and we're going to get back ready to racing any moment soon. As we come round turns 3 and 4 once more, this very strange rectangular layout of Indianapolis, of course, can throw a lot of people off. You do have to do a little bit of lifting here as well to get through the corners, especially in these Cup cars. They don't have the downforce of something like an Indy car or anything like that. Pace car will be coming in and we'll be going back to racing. So as you can see, they're all lining up 2 by 2 at the moment, getting ready to go. And Josh Mickelmore has got a fantastic launch there. Brilliant jump on that start. Great launch. And if we look down the rest of the field, we can see that they're all starting to go 2 by 2 now. Can be dangerous this early on. You might just need to lift off a little bit more than you expect. As Ayrton Smith comes down the inside of Jason Martin, holding that position well for Ayrton. Skurlock just behind them. A great little battle starting to heat up here in the 3rd, 4th and 5th place. You see Foster back there starting to climb up as well. He managed to avoid a bit of that damage, but the front of his car is a bit mangled. So we'll have to see how well he can do for this race. As Smith finally loses it out to Martin. Skurlock's going to make him pay for that, as well as Bradley Allison as well, sitting close there on the bottom line, not allowing him to get back in. But this has given Raymond Yeager a bit of a chance to come up to them. Will he be able to get the outside working and try and pull himself along? Looks like Bradley Allison was thinking about doing that, but changed his mind at the last moment. As Michael Skurlock just looked like he just went a little bit wide there for a moment. And he's lost a little bit of time there, Skurlock. As they come into the next set of corners, got 2 wide at the front, with Neil Pearson working his way up there. Good little drive from Pearson there, getting up into those positions. Still a long way to go in this race, of course. But currently Mickelmore leads with Gallagher second. In 3rd place we have Jason Martin. I don't know why he's not showing up there, but apparently he's not. Go back to the top ticker, I think that's going to be easier. But yeah, Jason Martin down there in 3rd as well. So getting some good racing towards the back here now as well, as people start to work their way up the field, people that were affected by that earlier incident. A guy that is working his way up the field is Jake Maloney there. He's working his way up just behind Newcomer Parry there in the 16. The field's starting to spread out a little tiny bit as we go along. But this being Indianapolis, things can change quite quickly. If we get a lot of green flag running, things can change quite a lot here. As we see Rob Fletcher coming down on Raymond Yeager there. Sorry, Hammy Stein, sorry. Working his way up towards Skurlock. We see Foster clawing his way back up now. He's behind his teammate, Jason Hartigan. Now, working his way up to try and get past Hartigan. He's side by side with Rob Fletcher now. He looks like to have got through quite easily there. We can see that Jake Maloney has got quite a bit of damage to the back of his car as well. You can see the back section has caved in slightly, and that's not going to be helping him out at all tonight. As Jason Martin starts to catch up to those leaders, setting a new fastest lap. He's catching up, but we have got a good battle for the lead now as Hamish Gallagher starts to fight with Josh Mickelmore. Looking good at the moment, these guys. Jason Martin will be wanting to get past Gallagher and try and get onto his teammate. Working together with the teammate could be very vital here. A little bit further back in the field, we have a good battle going on between Bradley Allison, Ayrton Smith and Neil Pearson, as we see Allison going down the inside of Smith there. Good move there, getting it held into position as well, and this is giving Skurlock a bit of a run. And Neil Pearson, as they go free wide across the start-finish line here at Indianapolis. You can see the bricks laid out there from its former name of the Brickyard. They think better of it going free wide into the first corner, however, but they managed to keep it. Too wide through the corner, and Ayrton Smith has managed to hold that position so far. Will he be able to hold it much longer as they come out side by side, nearly closing between Pearson and Smith there? Just a cigarette paper between them as they went through the edge of that corner. Very, very close racing we've got here. And a little touch there, Neil Pearson getting into the back of Ayrton Smith there, just touching him a little bit. They both managed to hold the car straight. Great driving efforts by both of them to keep them in a straight line. But that's unsettled Smith's car and giving Pearson the ability to get down the straight a little bit quicker. Also allowing him to have that inside line, which is going to help him out a little bit. He does run up wide, and that means that Smith's had to pull out a little bit from that one. And you can see he's just dropped down a little bit as they very almost go free wide through the corner there. Bradley Allison and Skurlock sitting right behind them at the moment. Skurlock is licking his lips, ready to jump when he can. Meanwhile, the leaders are running away at the top. They've got a 3-second lead over these guys. As they fight away, they're just starting to lose those leaders. And you can see there that Maloney is starting to catch up to these guys as well. Getting closer and closer with each lap. He's going to start wanting to fight. You've also got another quick driver, Jason Hartigan, there as well. And as they keep on fighting, it's just allowing Foster to just close in a little bit closer with each lap. Getting that recovery drive done. A little bit further back, we've got people like Raymond Yeager battling it out with Parry and Rob Fletcher at the moment. Great battles going on all the way across the field at the moment. It's hard to know where to look as they're free wide down the back straight. Who's going to blink first into the corner? Are they going to try it? They do, but Yeager thinks better of it. He just eases out a little bit there. Discretion is the better part of valour sometimes. Good move from Yeager, not pushing that one too much. You don't want to push too early in this race because it can be a race of attrition here tonight. But up the front, we still have Micklemore leading with Gallagher second and Martin third. Another great drive for Josh Micklemore and the Mitch Motorsport team, who have been absolutely blowing it away this season. It's really a battle of two teams this year, up at the top end of the grid, mainly because a couple of teams have dropped out, of course. But JP Simshed and the Mitch Motorsport boys have got a lot of their drivers in that top 10 now, and are doing a great effort in keeping them up there. Of course, we're only 6 races away from the chase after this one as well, and that's going to make things, again, a bit different. So drivers are wanting to try and get their good results in before the drop rounds come. Try and set themselves so they can get into the chase, get into a good position. As Hartigan goes down, and we see Maloney as well moving on Bradley Allison. Great move there by the two. Getting through there, and now they've got to chase down the Pace Syndicate car of Michael Skurlock. A driver that we know can be very tricky to pass. Neil Pearson has actually started moving away from Skurlock, getting a bit of a gap. And we've seen Ed Smith as well just drop back a little bit too. So he's been dropping back a little bit by a little bit. So falling back a bit, falling into the grasp of Foster and Maloney there. Bradley Allison as well now coming up to fall into that path as well. Slightly fresher tyres maybe helping out Foster here a little bit. Jake Maloney, of course, also stopped for tyres. Not much difference will be made there, but it can help a little tiny bit. As the battle for the front continues on, lap after lap, it feels like these guys are sat in their positions. No change in the top three. However, a little bit further back, the action is still heating up. You can see all those cars in that picture down the back straight. You've got a DPR Racing sandwich between Neil Pearson in 4th and I believe it's Phil Otto in 14th. And then Stephen Williams a little bit further back. So you can just see those cars are just sort of a little bit scattered at the moment, and they'll want to try and get their teammates up into a position where they can help each other, of course. But at the moment, it's Skurlock putting the pressure on Pearson, with Hartigan just behind him, and Jake Maloney, as ever, charging hard. In 7th place at the moment. And I feel like all the drivers are just starting to settle into that one-by-one philosophy now, just not pushing it too hard, not going too extreme here tonight. There's no point in over-pushing it and overdoing it here this early in the race. We're still only on lap 19, lap 20 in just a few moments of this 80-lap race, as we see a car coming into the pit lane. Michael Shaw there, and I'm trying to figure out who the other person was. Matt Hunter there. So a little bit of an incident for those two drivers possibly. We'll see if I can catch that on the replay. Does not look like it's wanting to come in for me. But Matt Hunter and Michael Shaw definitely getting some form of damage there, and a bit of a hit there for those two drivers. So can't catch what's happening there, unfortunately. But up the front, we've got Jason Martin now pressing for the lead as he goes round the outside of Gallagher and tries to do the same on his teammate here. Will he manage to make it stick? That's the big question now. He's going to get Hamish Gallagher getting into his draft now and try and get ahead of Micklemore. And you can imagine that Micklemore is not going to be too displeased about losing that first place as he gets put behind his teammate, which will allow him to save a little bit of fuel, be able to run a little bit cleaner maybe. And they've managed to make that move without Gallagher getting past at the moment. But as you can see, the drivers behind are catching up at a vast rate of knots. They were almost 3 seconds behind a few laps ago. Now they're only 2 seconds behind as they catch up to the leaders. For some reason, I have to apologise. The 21 of Jason Martin isn't showing up for us in the actual listings, so I apologise for that. I'm using a slightly older system here tonight, as we've had technical issues, unfortunately, for the stream. So we are running on a slightly older spec of the actual graphics and all that kind of stuff. So not quite as crisp and clean as we're used to seeing. But hopefully it's coming out all well on the other side. And Martin resuming that lead role now. He's going to sit there just in front of his teammate, try and help him, drag him along a little bit, give him a little bit of the draft to help use a little bit less fuel, and that should help him out a little bit. A little bit further back, we have Michael Skurlock catching up with Jake Maloney there. The 29 doing a good job despite that bit of damage at the back. Jason Hartigan just behind him. Again, another strong run from Hartigan. Neil Pearson now sitting there in 7th, with Bradley Allison in 8th place and a fast-charging, recovering Foster in 9th at the moment. But Jake Maloney was the only car really to have, well, not a huge amount of damage, but it had some damage to pit with in those last pit stops. So he has managed to jump a few positions, and you have to wonder if there's anything to do with that slightly fresher tyres being in there. Maybe he's just feeling the car a little bit better now. He is definitely on a flyer at the moment. Everybody seems to have settled down here now. We've still got a couple of little battles raging on in the lower ends of the pack. But we'll have to see how they shake out in a little bit of time. Most of the drivers now are settled into that sort of single file formation now, just taking it easy until we get to our first load of pit stops. The drivers will try and push these cars as long as they can to try and make this a one-stop race, try and make it so they can get to lap 40 on these tyres. Fuel-wise, they should be able to just make it. Tyre-wise, though, that could be the problematic part for them. As Martin still in the lead there, his teammate just behind him with Hamish Gallagher in 3rd place. A good run from Gallagher again. Doing well to sit in that position. The big gainer at the moment is Michael Skurlock there in 4th place. He is going to be sitting well at the moment. Skurlock there just higher up in the championship standings. I think he's still in 2nd place over Danny G. So with Danny G being out of this race, this could be a good points haul for Skurlock and get him towards that top step of the championship before we get into the chase. So we'll have to see how that works out for him. And I believe Danny G is, yes, he's still in the pit lane. So a few cars are pretty much done for the night, unfortunately, after that early incident which took out a fair few of the drivers. Yellow. And we've got a caution. Let's see if we can pick that one up on our cameras. Don't think we're going to pick this one up, unfortunately. Not going to pick that one up, sadly. Just having a little bit of a look through the field on who that could have been. And I think there's our culprit, the 07, I believe. Looks like the 07's had a big incident there, so a big one for him. See if we can pick that up. Not sure if we'll be able to. Doesn't look like it's going to do it, but looks like it was down the back straight himself and Hammy Stein, I believe. Sorry, Yeah, a couple of cars are involved there, unfortunately. But this will mean that the lead drivers are going to come into pit lane now, get those tyres swapped over, get some fresh tyres put on. So we'll see how this one goes for our drivers. So Jason Martin leads in the 21 and he'll be the first to come to the stop by the looks of it, up the front. Gets into his pit stall pretty well there. But how will it be as we race off of pit lane? And it looks like his teammate has beaten him out just by a tiny bit. Josh Mickelmore getting out in front of his teammate there. Jason Martin with Michael Skurlock third, Hamish Gallagher fourth, Edward Foster fifth, so managed to jump up there a little bit. So a few drivers gaining some positions, a couple of drivers losing a few positions. So we'll have to see how that comes to fruition as we come later in this race now. So we will need to do one more stop before the end of this race tonight. Nobody will be able to make it from here to the end for sure. Now, of course, one other thing to consider here is for tyre life. Of course, there is the rule of only 4 sets of tyres in the race. With Foster coming into the pit lane twice now, he's probably taking 2 sets of those tyres, so only has 2 left now for the remainder of the race. We'll have to see again how if that plays into effect for the remainder of this race tonight. As the pace car's lights go out, so we'll be looking for 1 lap to go now. We'll be back to green the next time round. There's a long old track in Indianapolis though, so it does take a while to get around here in the pace car. It's almost a 50-ish second lap in green conditions and qualifying, so when you're under pace car conditions, it does go a bit longer than that. You could be looking at an almost a 1.5 minute lap around here under pace car conditions, so it is a lot slower than you're used to, and that can throw a few drivers out of the loop and put them out of well, makes them a little bit out of sorts, out of position as well. And you can see there's a few battered cars still in the running as we go down the track. A few people just getting back to their positions as well, but some damage out there for sure. And I thought I spotted that. Yes, Joshua Carroll-Walden has come back out of onto the track. He's 9 laps down, but he's back out to try and get a few points for people dropping off and not making it to the end of this race, as we're going to go back to green flag racing here. We're going to have Josh Mickelmore leading us off the line with his teammate Jason Martin in second. And away he goes. He drops the hammer early again and gets a great restart. His teammate also away nice and well. He's going to be able to slot behind his teammate there. You can see Michael Skurlock as well trying to get into that 3rd position, and he makes it. 4th position is Hamish Gallagher. 5th is Foster. Bradley Allison is in 6th, and 7th is Jake Maloney. And the caution is back out again, unfortunately. Cautions breeding cautions. We'll try and pick up on what happened there. Looks like somebody may have just gone round a little bit there and caused that caution to come out. See if I can pick that one up on the replay system. Looks like Rob Fletcher there has just gone into the wall, and that's caused the caution to come out there. So Fletcher going into the wall, and that's causing that caution flag to drop once more. We're back under pace car conditions, which is not optimal when you're doing broadcasting by yourself. So Josh Mickelmore will fall back behind that pace car once more. Get into a position behind them and go around for another couple of laps. I doubt we're going to see anyone coming in for a pit stop per se, but we might see some people come in for some repairs on damage. There are a few cars out there that have taken some damage. We can see here on the front of Foster's car there is a bit of a wrinkle on the nose there still, and some damage on that vehicle. And this can be a good time for people to come in for damage repairs. You can see quite a few cars have got some damage on them as we go through. This is Adam Roswell as well, damage on that front right of the car, and that is the usual suspect for places of damage, unfortunately. The front of that car can be quite easy to get into a position where it gets damaged. A few fakes of position, a few people sort of looking to come down pit road but changing their minds at the last moment. But none of the leaders decide to go down there. Now, if you yourself are interested in joining oval racing, especially in the ANZCAR League, we do like to let people know that there is the truck series that runs every Monday, and the nationwide series which runs on a Wednesday now, which is the Classic 87 car. Truck series, of course, is the trucks, the NASCAR trucks. The 87 car is the Monte Carlo and the Thunderbird, I think it is. Off the top of my head, my brain might be dead there. But fantastic racing in those categories, and fantastic places to start if you're looking to get into oval racing. A lot of these drivers do race in those areas, and you will get a lot of experience racing there too, which is always useful. We do say to people, don't just jump in the cup car straight away, because it is a difficult thing to get used to. And it is a different form of racing than what you're used to usually. So starting out in things like the trucks or the 87 cars can be a great path to getting yourself up into a cup drive, of course. Just make sure to look for ANZCAR on Facebook for more information on that. Of course, on this network, on the JP Simshed network, we do have other races as well. You'll have to forgive me as I've completely forgotten what those races are off the top of my head. But we do have the V8 series on a Tuesday and Wednesday night. So again, another good thing to get some experience in. The V8s are very popular at the moment as well, so a little bit tricky to get into those ones. Just because they are very full at the moment. But there are a few other categories covered on this channel, so if you're enjoying what you see here tonight, and if you are a fan of sim racing, do make sure to subscribe to the channel, and you will catch lots more of motorsport brought to you by Britzy, Jinx Shifters, and a few other sponsors as well. Pace car lights are out, so we're going to be going back to green shortly. Hopefully we'll get a bit more green now. Big thing to notice is just down towards the DPR drivers with Phil Otto, Stephen Williams and Neil Pearson there, they are in a line together. That is what you want for a restart with teammates. That's going to help them out immensely. They'll be able to get into a position where they can run well, hopefully. That's what they're going to hope for, at least. As the pace car comes round to the final corner, I believe. And we'll be pitting in very shortly to get this race back under green flag conditions, with the Mitch Motorsport drivers of Josh Micklemore and Jason Martin leading away. Michael Skurlock and Hamish Gallagher just behind them. Foster and Bradley Allison just behind them. And we are back to racing as we wait for it, and there it is. Josh Micklemore drops the hammer and gets away well. Brilliant restart there by the leader once more. Another fantastic restart for him, as it looks like everybody's going to get through pretty safely at the moment. DPR cars have got broken up a little bit. At the front though, Michael Skurlock is a driver on the move. He's managed to get past Jason Martin, and he looks like he's going to make a move on Josh Micklemore here as he goes down the inside into turn number 3. Gets the move done, gets into first place, and will cross the line in the lead here if he can hold on to that position. He's just got to keep Micklemore behind him now as they go back onto the long start-finish straight. See Foster coming out there looking to try and get past Allison, but doesn't have the punch to do it at the moment. Skurlock does manage to lead a lap, so he's managed to get that position and hold it there. As we look down the field, you can see a brilliant start for Phil Otto as well, getting past Jason Hartigan. Quite a few drivers getting a little bit caught out there, especially looking like his teammates Neil Pearson and Stephen Williams. But at the moment, we have got the leader of Michael Skurlock. Fantastic drive up the grid there for Skurlock. He's going to be very happy about that one, I'm sure. And he remains in that position, looking like he's got some decent pace at the moment. As the leaders start to form up, Jake Maloney getting in there as well. Good restart for Jake Maloney in 5th place now. You can see the battle between Foster and Allison as well, forming up behind them for 7th and 6th place. Foster's teammate of Jason Hartigan is just sitting there as well. They look like they're all ready to go, ready to race tonight. As we come round for lap 38 of 80 now. And you can see Micklemore there just looking to try and make his move as they go down the start-finish straight once more. Micklemore eyeing him up, trying to get into a position to make a move stick at the moment, but he can't quite get there. Doesn't have just enough pace to get right onto the back of Skurlock, it seems. Everything else is sitting a little bit the same at the back, but Jason Hartigan is catching a little bit on his teammate now. Possibly that damage on the front is starting to affect Foster's straight line speed. As you can see up ahead, Josh Micklemore going down the inside of Skurlock. Brilliant move there, decisive move for Josh Micklemore, and he manages to make that one stick and gets into a fantastic position there. Brilliant driving from Josh Micklemore once again, getting ahead of Skurlock. Skurlock isn't done yet though. He looks like he's going to want to fight on a little bit, want to try and get back past Josh Micklemore, and he's starting to apply a bit of that pressure. You can see just behind them as well, Jake Maloney is also starting to apply the pressure to Hamish Gallagher. Right on the back of him, he's going to look and try and go down the inside here in 3 and 4. And he's managed to make it stick, getting down the inside of Gallagher through turn number 3. Will Gallagher manage to get back into a position through turn number 4? Does not look like it. Maloney looking to have made that one stick, as Skurlock was poking his nose out just to try and slightly put off the driver in front of him, just give him a mirror full of the black and green car there, try and force him to be in a slightly different line. But Micklemore is a wily driver and did not fall for that one, sticking in first place at the moment. As now we've got Jake Maloney going down the inside of Jason Martin. It's all go here tonight as we see Maloney making that stick on Martin. He's managed to get past and break the teammates up even further. There's now 2 cars between them, and this can only help out their races. As the first 5 cars at the front are really battling hard at the moment. This is the kind of racing we love to see. A little bit further back, Jason Hartigan has managed to get past his teammate of Foster, getting up there, and is now on the chase of Bradley Allison. Will we see Jason Hartigan coming up soon to start clinging onto the back of this battle? As Maloney makes a look down the inside of Skurlock, forcing him to go wide. Skurlock's gone out very wide onto the marbles. That's going to lose him a lot of time. And Skurlock has gone from 2nd to 5th in the matter of 1 corner. A very easy thing to do here. As you start to go out on that high line, the grip just falls away from you. The racing line is very important here, as you see Bradley Allison as well getting muscled into that slightly dirty part of the track, and Jason Hartigan getting past him as well. But a brilliant move there from Maloney. He really forced Skurlock to have to go up very high, and that has cost him a lot of time. And that's going to cost him, well, it's cost him a fair few positions, but this is only going to help Maloney's chance of getting another win. He's going to try his best to get up here right now. As we've passed the halfway mark of this race on lap 42 now of this race. Currently the drivers at the front have done around 15 to 16 laps on those new tyres. So a bit of time before we get a pit stop coming for sure. But we'll see how this works out for our drivers as they come round. Maloney getting another good bit of draft here. Getting underneath the rear spoiler of Micklemore. He's going to try and make that move stick. Will he manage it? Not quite. Just didn't have enough turn in there. Needed a little bit more of the car to turn there for him to get that move done. Didn't quite make it stick this lap, but he might make it stick soon. He's really piling on the pressure on Josh Micklemore. Maloney's still applying that pressure to him. He's getting underneath and putting himself there in a position where he can get past. He's managed to slot beside Mickelmore now. Side by side they go into turn number 3. Will he make this one stick? Yes, he does. Brilliant move by Maloney. Mickelmore just easing out a little bit there so he didn't go up high. Didn't lose too much time. Very smart move for Mickelmore. He's going to get a little bit of a tow and might even get a little bit of a push from his teammate from behind to help him back here. Back into the lead as the two Mitch Motorsport cars have reconnected in second and third. And the ever-present threat of Foster down in 8th place still lurks in the background. He doesn't have quite the pace that he would want, I'm sure, but he's still putting up a good effort on the recovery drive after that early incident in the race. Maloney now just starting to pull a little bit of a gap from the drivers behind him. Skurlock once again getting racy back on the tail of Gallagher. He's looking to try and make this one pass. Gallagher goes down low to try and defend this time, but Skurlock has the speed to get past him down the straight line and is through as they go through turn number 1. Brilliant move by Skurlock there. Fantastic driving into that section of the track. Now Martin is looking to get past his teammate. Will we see this one pay off for him? As Martin and Mickelmore go side by side, Martin gets through there. Mickelmore does not lose much time though, and that's the important thing of teammates passing each other, is not to lose the time as you do that. Expert move there by the Mitch Motorsport boys. Brilliant job, but it has allowed Skurlock just to get a little bit closer and get another good run on them. Will he be able to make this one pay off? As he gets a pretty good run here at Indianapolis. We'll have to see how this goes as they come through turns number 1 and 2 onto the long back stretch. Now, one of the other things to note about Indianapolis is it's a relatively flat oval. When you look at some other super speedways, it's a relatively flat circuit. There's not much camber on those bankings. And that can really affect how the car goes because it is such a low camber. You have less turning than you expect sometimes. You can see Jason Martin is absolutely launching himself away at the moment. Going down after Jake Maloney. Jason Martin is pulling out a huge gap on his teammate. Almost half a second at the moment on his teammate. But he has almost a 1 second gap to make up on Maloney. As Michael Skurlock comes down the inside, looks to make a move on Mickelmore once again. Will he get it done this time? Looking good for him. And he does indeed get past Mickelmore, who once again gets off the gas early to get back on the inside line. He tries to make the crisscross there. Tries to double back and get past Skurlock, but doesn't quite manage it. Skurlock has managed to work his way up to 3rd place. Meanwhile, Jake Maloney doesn't seem to be paying any attention to that damage on his car as he flies along. He is starting to lose a bit of time now. It's now down to 0.850 of a second, so not much between those two. As we see Martin starting to catch up slowly but surely. Josh Mickelmore here starting to drop down quite quickly. Is he starting to have some trouble with the tyres? As they go on to lap 21 of this stint. See Gallagher just moving out the way there, letting Jason Hartigan come through. Gallagher just moving back a little bit in that line, just getting a little bit of a healthier drag as he comes up to it. Meanwhile, up the front, we've seen Jason Martin get past Jake Maloney there. Brilliant move there from Martin, just squeezes his way through. But we can see that Jake Maloney is not giving this one up. And I think we also have a problem for Edward Foster there. No, Foster's come into the pit road already. Foster has actually stopped for new tyres. So I just saw that out the corner of my eye. Foster was just coming out of the pit road. So he's made his pit stop on lap 50 here. Will it be enough to get to the end of the race? If he's having trouble with only 20 or so laps on those tyres, then he might need to stop one last time. Meanwhile, in 5th, 6th and 4th place, we've got a great little battle going on between Micklemore, Gallagher and Hartigan right now. Hartigan coming out on top at the moment, getting past Micklemore. Micklemore's going to try and get underneath him through this corner. Hartigan manages to keep the car in position, so he just can't make it stick at the moment. Meanwhile, it looks like Gallagher is just dropping off the pace a little bit. Back up the front, Jake Maloney has not given up on that lead yet. He's still chasing down Martin, trying his best to get past him. As those laps count down on those tyres, or count up you could say, the cars are just losing a bit of pace overall just because they're not quite getting the adhesion they need off the exit of the corner. Losing a little bit of pace off the corner and a little bit of pace into the corner as well because the car just doesn't stick. We've got Raymond Yeager coming out of the pit lane now as well. A few drivers coming in for their green flag stops already, so I can't imagine it'll be too long before we see a front runner coming into the stops and getting this one sorted out. Because the longer these guys stay out there, the easier it's going to be for those guys that stop a little bit earlier to start leapfrogging them as well. Of course, another thing about Indianapolis is it's not the easiest pit entry and pit exit here. The pit exit is very long. You have to drive around those first two corners and that can be very problematic for you. It can really throw the car out. As we start to see the difference of pace here between the tyres as Yeager gets past Maloney. Absolutely flying up behind Jason Martin as well. Won't be long before he's past the leader, back on the lead lap right here for Raymond Yeager. As you see Albon coming out of the pits now as well on those fresher tyres. But he has lost a little bit of time to Yeager. Will he be able to get that time back though once those tyres become up to temperature? That is the big question. As Skurlock comes into the pit lane, we've got a great little battle at the front once more, otherwise we'll jump to that car. You can see Maloney is going down the inside of Martin and he makes it stick. Maloney gets back into the lead here. And that can be crucial for getting into the pit lane safely sometimes. Currently, though, we've still got Gallagher, Martin and Hartigan out on the track. But those guys that came in for their pit stops are starting to slowly sit in position. Skurlock just leaving the pit lane now. Where will he come out in comparison to Edward Foster? Quite a bit down. You can see Foster just coming through there before he's even left the pit lane speed limit section. Foster gaining a huge heap of time here. Let's just jump back to the front right now. As we can see, Maloney is starting to pull a decent gap away from Martin. Hamish Gallagher battles with Mickelmore still. Who's going to blink first up the front? Well, we know Skurlock has, but who else is going to come in? That is a big question for us. As Mickelmore gets down the inside of Gallagher and gets that move stuck into position. Good job for him. Meanwhile, the leaders look like they're going to be staying out for another lap. No, Jason Martin has come into the pit lane. Jason Martin is stopping along with his teammate and Hamish Gallagher. That has brought a fair few cars into the pit lane. That's going to allow Parry up into the P2 spot as he comes across the line. But he will need to pit for tyres come shortly. So you can see the narrowness of the track now when you look down in this angle. And just see how narrow that track becomes when you're looking down it from pit road. It's not the widest of tracks, Indianapolis. It feels bigger than it actually is. Jason Martin getting out in front of his teammate. Josh Mickelmore losing a couple of positions there on Hamish Gallagher, so going down a couple of spots for himself. Now these guys are going to come out into some traffic. Interestingly enough though, the earliest guy to sort of stop in that sort of round of pit stops was Edward Foster, and he's currently the guy that's leading them all at the moment. Michael Skurlock's a little bit further down the road from him. Still setting good pace though, so we'll have to see how these guys run out as they as the stint continues. Meanwhile, Norman Clark now takes the lead as Jake Maloney has come into the pit lane and is on his way back out again. You can see as well Skurlock getting past Maloney already. And Raymond Yeager's also going to get through there by the looks of things. As they come out of the corner, they're going to have better speed here on this straight section. They should just about get past Maloney. As he's on cold tyres right now. But Maloney will be trying to make the biggest stock car in the world right now to try and keep those guys behind him as his tyres warm up and he gets back to operating temperature. Meanwhile, up at the front, the first of the... sorry, he's been out for a while. Foster is the first of the two stoppers. Norman Clark staying out there. This is his 31st lap. So I imagine they will be coming in relatively shortly, Norman Clark and Ayrton Smith. But they're just going to stay out there, just hoping for a caution to come out. If it does, they could be in a fantastic position right now. But we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Meanwhile, Skurlock is catching on Foster as we speak, and these two are going to give us a good little battle now. Skurlock's going to have much more speed on the exit, which he does. Will Foster be able to do anything to pay him back, get back past him for this one? Doesn't look like he's going to have the speed for it. And Skurlock makes that move look easy, getting past underneath Foster. And now he's going to set his sights on those front runners. A little bit further back, we've got Maloney and Martin battling out. They're still a few seconds off. And you can see there as well, Hamish Gallagher going 3 wide there, getting past Raymond Yeager and Danny Albon. Starting to get some furious racing as we're on lap 60 of 80. Meanwhile, Norman Clark has stayed out there and leads for another lap. This could pay off for him come towards the end of the race as people's tyres starts to drop off. But you can see how quickly Skurlock and Foster are catching him right now. All down to those nice, fresh, sticky tyres. You can just see the cornering speed difference between those cars as Skurlock just flies up to Norman Clark, looks to go up underneath him, and he's going to make this one stick. That better traction off the corner means he's got better straight line speed, and he makes the move, getting back into the lead of this race, Michael Skurlock. A little bit further back, we have Jake Maloney with Jason Martin, who's dropped a little bit off of his tail. Micklemore, Gallagher, still battling hard. Bradley Allison still working his way up in position, still sitting in a top 10 spot. Neil Pearson in 9th, with Raymond Yeager in 10th at the moment. But you can see already that Maloney is catching on Foster. As Foster goes a little bit wide there. Looking like the tyre's just giving out a little bit on him, and that's allowing Maloney just to get underneath him and make that position stick. Maloney working his way up into 3rd place. Jason Martin now going down underneath Foster, getting the move made. And the 550 as well of Tristan Koch there. Slightly different position and placing for him, but he's still able to get some speed in that car. Meanwhile, Martin is trying to chase down Jake Maloney. Well, Michael Skurlock has got a decent lead for himself. He's almost got a 4-second lead over Maloney. Big question now is how well will Skurlock's tyres hold up? We've seen that tyre wear can really affect you here tonight, and we've seen that there is a bit of drop off from those fresh tyres to those newer tyres as well. As Josh Micklemore goes down underneath Tristan Koch, Foster out wide. They're going to be 3 wide here as they go into the corner. They think slightly better of it, just lifting off a little bit. But Gallagher and Micklemore make it through into P4 and 5. As we roll around to lap 65 now of this 80 lap race, we can see here Micklemore and Gallagher having a great battle. Meanwhile, up the front, we've still got Skurlock in the lead with a fast charging Jake Maloney catching him at a vast rate of knots. He's managed to take out 2-second advantage almost from him. In these last couple of laps, he is really flying down, chasing him. We can't count out Jason Martin either. He's only a little bit further away from Maloney. Could he be saving his tyres a little right now instead of pushing it all too hard and letting those tyres drop off? See the 114 there fighting for keeping on its lap as well. Nathan Clive there just battling as they go three wide side by side, the back marker down the front straight, and it looks like Jake Maloney's going to make the move stick as they come into turns 1 and 2. Maloney has made it happen, got past Skurlock using the back marker to get through positions there. Great driving from Maloney, managing to slot himself up into that P1 slot yet again. Michael Skurlock's now going to play the catch-up game and try his best to get back up into that lead position. Jason Martin's going to do all he can to make that not happen. Meanwhile, Josh Micklemore and Hamish Gallagher still battle on. Jason Martin now catching back onto the tail of Skurlock. Is he going to make this move work? It looks like he can do it. He's going to try it down into turn 1, and he makes his stick, forcing Skurlock a little bit wide onto that slightly dustier, slightly more debris-laden surface of the outside of the corner, and manages to make that move stick, getting himself into second place. Now comes the question of whether Micklemore and Gallagher can actually get back up to Skurlock. They've got a bit of a gap to catch up to, around 3 seconds, but they might be able to do it here if Skurlock's tyres are starting to fall away on him. But at the moment, it looks like Jake Maloney has got this one sealed away, unless Jason Martin can pull something special out and start catching up to him, which he currently isn't doing. Meanwhile, Foster and Allison battle for 7th and 8th. Raymond Yeager down there in 9th, and Phil Otto in 10th has got a big battle on his hands with Mirko Dortnak and Parry as they come through turns 3 and 4 here. You can see that Otto has managed to get out in front at the moment. Parry there back in 11th, and 12th is Mirko Dortnak. The race certainly calming down a little bit now as we fall into the final sections of this race. The main battle being between Micklemore and Gallagher. The two have been battling all night along. The mirror number of Micklemore's car, of course, the 13 and 31, battling on hard and fast at the moment, giving us some great things to watch on the screen. Gallagher's got a good position at the moment. If he can get a run, he will be able to get past Micklemore, but he's got to get that run first to make it happen. As you can see, they are nose to tail right here, and you can just see how closely Gallagher's getting to the wall right now as well. You have to get close to get fast here, and it is a very, very easy circuit to make a mistake on. Very easy to lose the car through these corners. You've got to lift off the accelerator a little bit as you come into these corners and then get back on them to get the best speed in the straight. It's not an easy thing to do. Much harder than it looks. As we jump to the onboard now, as we can see Gallagher trying his best to make that move happen. He has got a little bit of damage on the right front, we can see. But we don't know how much that's affecting him. The one thing you've got to be careful of in this position is the car's cooling. In the truck race on Monday, we had a bit of a tumultuous start and a few people go out. And by just keeping out there at Talladega in my truck, I managed to finish a few places higher than I expected, as a few other crash victims got onto my lap and just sat behind my car because they'd already damaged their cooling systems, that their engines blew. You've got to always be careful of that on a high-speed circuit like this. Gallagher gets a much better run off the corner there. He's going to make it look down the inside right now. Is he going to make it happen? Looks like he might have this one. As he goes down the inside of Micklemore. Fantastic driving from Hamish Gallagher there, getting the jump on Josh Micklemore. Brilliant driving by those guys. Now will Josh Micklemore be able to make the move back? He's going back down the inside of Gallagher now. We'll be able to see Micklemore fly past. There he goes, down the inside of Gallagher. Gallagher getting a little bit loose there, as well as Micklemore. They both held it very well as they went through that corner. You can hear those tyres squealing. You can see Micklemore having to lift off there as he comes out the corner. That's allowed Gallagher to get back past him right now. Will he have the speed to get past him as they come down into turns 3 and 4? Looks like Gallagher might have this one. Just a small mistake from Josh Micklemore there cost him an enormous amount of time, having to lift off a little bit on the exit of the corner. Great driving to avoid an incident there. That could have been a nasty little touch. As these guys are fighting though, there is a car sneaking up behind them in that of Neil Pearson. As Micklemore once again goes down the inside of Gallagher. It seems every lap these guys are changing position. It's hard to know where to look next, really. And just see here from the rear of Micklemore's car, Gallagher there just sitting menacingly close. You can also see those specks of rubber on the car as well. That's from all of the marbles being kicked up on this track. As they go through the corners, you can hear the tyres squealing. It will go a bit quiet here. And when those tyres are squealing like that, it means they're starting to move laterally. And that starts to cause the marbles coming up, and it does not help tyre wear one bit. This battle has given Neil Pearson a fantastic drive up to 6th place and onto the back of these two battling cars. Will he be able to make the move stick? Pearson on a little bit older tyres, only by 1 lap, but slightly older, but he hasn't been putting so much stress through them. You can see as well Norman Clark there in the background. He's currently sitting in 15th position. after that pit stop. Trying to stay out long did not help him out this time round. And Pearson just looking like he might have just gone into the wall slightly there. We've got 4 laps to go here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Looks like Pearson has just tapped the wall slightly, and that's cost him a bit of time. So that's allowing Gallagher and Micklemore to get back into the fight. Skurlock still sits in 3rd place. He's still got a nice bit of gap between himself and 4th place man Josh Micklemore. 2nd place is still Jason Martin. He's now 2 seconds behind the leader of Jake Maloney, who's just pulling away with this one. A fantastic drive from Maloney there, especially with the bits of damage on the car. Luckily at the back of the car, so not to cause too much damage to it, but a fantastic drive so far from Jake Maloney. He's worked his way up the pack and got himself into the lead. Just brilliant driving there all night long. Really helping him out there. As we cross the line for 2 to go. Micklemore and Gallagher are back at it. They've got a lapped car coming up to them now. Will this be Gallagher's chance to get past? This might be his only chance to do it, and does not look like he can make it this time. Micklemore is looking good to hold on to that 4th spot though. Meanwhile, Jake Maloney comes across the line with 1 lap to go. The Hybrid Racing Solutions white flag lap is on, and Jake Maloney leads the race. Nice gap between himself and Jason Martin. This is his last mile or so of racetrack to go through. Not much further now before he crosses that start-finish line. And takes a well-deserved race victory. As he comes through turn number 4 for the final time tonight, Jake Maloney powers his way down the start-finish straight and crosses the line, taking out the victory here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Jason Martin in 3rd. Next we have, Jason Martin 2nd. 3rd we have Michael Skurlock. Josh Micklemore manages to hold off 4th with Hamish Gallagher just behind him in 5th. 6th place is Neil Pearson. 7th is Bradley Allison. Foster 8th place at the moment. Not much he can do here unless he gets a super run. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. Foster's going to cross 8th with Bradley Allison taking a 7th place. Parry in the number 16 looks like he's going to take 9th. A fantastic best finish for his ANZCAR Cup career, I believe. Mirko Dornak ended up in 10th spot. Great driving from Mirko Dornak there. But you've got to say, Jake Maloney absolutely taking the victory there. Fantastic drive for himself. Brilliant work there for Jake Maloney. I'm sure he's going to be very pleased about that one. So as the drivers come into the pits and get ready to finish their night up, we'll just quickly go through those results for you. So in 1st place we have Jake Maloney, Jason Martin 2nd in the Mitch Motorsport car, Michael Skurlock in 3rd with Josh Micklemore in 4th, Hamish Gallagher 5th, Neil Pearson in the 6th, 7th is Bradley Allison with Edward Foster in 8th. 9th is Parry with 10th place Mirko Dortnack. 11th is Phil Otto with Stephen Williams in 12th. Ayrton Smith 13th with Raymond Yeager in 14th. Norman Clark 15th with Tristan Koch in 16th. 17th is Adam Rosell, with 18th Jason Hartigan. Hartigan must have had a bit of a problem there because he dropped quite a bit back. Nathan Clive in 19th with Mick Wilson in 20th. 21st is Hammy Stein with 22nd Joshua Carroll Walden. Managed to get back out the pits and get the car out there to get a semi-decent finish. Matt Hunter is in the 23rd place with 24th Danny G. Rob Fletcher 25th, 26th Michael Shaw, 27th Matthew Clewitt, 28th Philip Howe, 29th Lachlan, 30th is Stacey Walker, and 31st is Billy Hickey, who doesn't look like he started. But Jake Maloney there taking a fantastic victory. I'm sure he's going to be ecstatic with that one. We will go and try and find him in the green room. What we might do is just grab down our 3rd place finisher, Michael Skurlock, as doesn't look like Maloney's up there yet, but we'll just grab down Michael Skurlock. Michael Skurlock, Carl Withy here in the JP Simshed broadcasting booth. How are you going?
Yeah, Carly, caught me by surprise there, mate. Yeah, no, good. Very good.
Well, you did finish in 3rd place, so you must have known you were going to be coming up here at some stage.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Before the race, I wasn't too confident, to be honest. I thought, I wasn't really up there on the speed compared to a lot of the other guys. But I don't know, something started working halfway through that. Just started getting the flow, letting off the gas early, letting it roll a bit and taking the corners tighter. And it just started working for me.
Well, absolutely. It looks like it really did. As you say, the first stint of the race looked a little bit tricky for yourself, but towards the end there, you really had some pace. You came in a little bit earlier than everybody else, if I remember correctly, for that sort of last pit stop, and just got yourself working up there a little bit better by the looks of it, getting out a decent lead. So what part of this do you think it was part strategy that helped you out getting to that 3rd place finish?
No, well, I don't know. It's weird. When you're driving around, some laps it grips up and feels good. The next lap, it starts pushing real tight. And I was missing the wall by like a hair, mate. So I knew that if I stayed out much longer, I could see Jason Hardigan catching me behind too. So I was getting a bit nervous. And I knew if I hit the wall once, you're done. Like the car just doesn't go anymore. So I just thought I've got to pit now just to get some fresh tyres and hopefully save them a bit better. And it did kind of work. Like I gained time by pitting earlier, I think. Because I had like a 5 or 6 second lead on Maloney, I think. I got slowed down a little bit by lappers, sort of put an arrow through my heart a little bit. But I wasn't going to hold them off. Like just pitting a lap or two later seems to make such a big difference in the long run for some reason.
Yeah, it did pay off for you in the end and got you up into that 3rd place finish. And with a lot of your championship rivals finishing a lot lower than you this week, it's going to help in the run to the chase for sure.
Yeah, well, hopefully. Take each week as it comes, mate. Like I say, it's always just good fun doing it, you know.
That's a good way to look at it. Before I let you go out of the booth, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to tonight?
Yeah, Pace Syndicate. Blip Clothing, BLIP Clothing. It's awesome. Check that out. PDC, it's just like a monthly race around Bathurst that the Pace Syndicate blokes host. That's always good fun. And Racewire. And I know there's another one, and it's a big one too. I got a mind blank, mate. It's a big one.
It's often the case. I understand that totally well. I completely forgot our
sponsors. Oh, sorry. No, here it is. Worm Paints. That's the main sponsor there. Worm Paints.
At least you got it out.
I can't forget that one.
No, that's the important one done. Congratulations on remembering the sponsors, and congratulations on that 3rd place. And I'm sure we'll see you back in the booth in the next couple of weeks.
Right, cheers, Carly. Thank you.
Michael Scarlock there, third place in the race. What we'll do now is just grab our race winner, Jake Maloney, and then we'll grab Jason Martin in afterwards, I think. Jake Maloney, Carl Withy here at the broadcast booth for JP Simshed Broadcasting. Congratulations on that race win.
Cheers, guys. Yeah, good to go back to back after last week, and yeah, it was fun racing with everyone, and yeah, really enjoyed that one.
Well, absolutely, a second win in a row for you. That's got to be such a good feeling out there, and you had such a good run out there as well. Just one thing I want to sort of ask about first of all is just you had a bit of damage on the back of that car. Was that from the early incident?
Yeah, that was from that lap 2 or 3 shunt. Yeah, just got a bit of a hit from behind, slowing down for everyone, and fortunately it was only minimal damage, and I don't think it affected me too much, which was good. So yeah, we were able to keep up pace.
Well, it definitely didn't look like it affected you too much. You had some seriously good pace out there tonight. You ended up finishing almost 2 seconds ahead of second place man Jason Martin, which is a decent feat in itself. But you just had some seriously good pace out there tonight again. Obviously feeling quite happy with the car, how it is at the moment.
Yeah, I've been really enjoying sort of my oval racing the last couple of weeks and enjoying the setups. Yeah, no, they've been a lot of fun to drive, and yeah, been gelling well with them. So yeah, we've had a bit of pace these last few weeks, which has been good.
Well, that is great to hear, and what we love to hear as well. It's nice to see somebody coming in and setting some good paces, also giving us some great racing action as well. So thank you so much for that tonight. Before I let you go out the booth, anyone you'd like to give a shout out for tonight?
I'd just thank the guys for the series and you guys for the broadcast.
Not a problem at all. If you give us races like that, we are always happy for you to come back in the booth. Hopefully we'll see you back here in the next couple of weeks, Jake.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see what happens. Yeah, should be back.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jake Maloney, and we'll see you again soon.
Cheers.
Jason Martin, Carl Withy here for the JP Simshed Broadcasting booth. How are you going? And good job on that second place finish.
Oh, thanks, mate. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that.
It looks like a bit of a tough race out there. A lot of green flag stints, obviously, a couple of cautions, but there was some serious racing going on between the front runners, mainly between yourself, Skurlock, Gallagher, and of course Maloney, and Micklemore, of course, your teammate. Some serious racing going on out there tonight. It was great to watch.
Yeah, that was great fun as well. It's good when you can race hard like that, and it's over heaps of laps. So yeah, great fun.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it was enjoyable out there, and it definitely gave us some good stuff on the broadcast as well, which we're always happy about. Just from your perspective, how did that race go for you?
It was a bit strange, actually. Early in the race, it was a bit loose, and then as the race wore on, it just got so tight that I was really struggling, but yeah, it was still good fun, but yeah, I didn't expect it to be so tight during the race.
Yeah, it seemed a few people were caught out towards the later laps. A couple of people just tagging the wall very slightly as the car adapted over that session. So obviously, it sounds like a few people were struggling with that one tonight. So for yourself out there, it was just mainly getting tight and a bit of a struggle through the edge of the corners.
Yeah, just too tight mid-turn and on exit, so got real close to the wall a couple of times, and it was pretty risky to try and push too hard.
It's always a heart jumping up into the mouth moment when that happens.
Yeah, there was a couple.
Well, it ended up not going too badly for you. You ended up with a fantastic second place, again up in those top 3 positions, and that's going to be helpful as the chase comes towards us. You're currently sitting in 5th position, so that's going to help lock you in up at the top there. We've only got 6 races to go now, so obviously looking forward to getting into the chase.
Yeah, I'll be glad to have this series behind me. It started off so bad, so good to be getting good results now, and yeah, looking forward to the chase.
Well, hopefully a bad start will mean a strong finish for you. Thank you so much, Jason. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out for tonight?
Got to thank BK Designs. Got to thank the boys at Mitch Motorsports. ANZCAR for putting on the series. JP Simshed for the broadcast.
And you're always welcome.
It looks like you did this all by yourself tonight, did you?
Yes, it's just me up in the booth tonight, so it was a bit of a long, tricky one tonight. So apologise to all the viewers, but and anyone that's watching in the past. But yeah, it went well, hopefully.
Good job, mate. Well done.
No worries. We'll catch you again, Jason. Thank you so much, and we'll see you up in the booth soon.
See ya, mate.
Jason Martin there for Mitch Motorsport. A fantastic job from all the drivers tonight. We had a fantastic race out here. Hope you enjoyed the broadcasting. Sorry it was a little bit off tonight, having to use some slightly older systems, so it didn't go too smoothly in some aspects, but hopefully everywhere else it was fine. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time out at, I can't remember where. Oh, my brain has gone dead now. There's been too much things happening for me, which is often the case, at Kentucky on July 9th. So we'll be back then for more ANZCAR action. Thank you so much for joining us.